Okay, 30 seconds to game time. Notes, got everything. Okay, we go in five, four, three, two. Hey, folks, Old Man Grognard here, and I want to talk about today is GMing about your performance as a GM. Now, don't let that scare you off because I'm working under the idea, and I have for quite a while, about 30 years, that as a GM, you're giving a performance to some people. You are. And it shouldn't really scare you if you consider the fact that they are giving a performance also to each other and to you. Um, but you just have a bigger role. You have a almost, if you think about it, unmanageable role, but it is manageable. They have to take care of one person. They give one performance, one character. You give performances for maybe dozens, up to dozens of characters, monsters, the weather, the city, how far they are, how far they have to travel, the gods, the weather. You have that. You got a lot on your plate. So your performance as a GM is a little bigger. But let me talk about GMing the performance. Now, as some people know, I'm an actor. I'm a I'm not a professional actor. I'm a community theater actor, but I've been around it just about probably longer since high school, longer than I have been a GM, and it has affected my GMing, and I think in a good way. Now, I know a lot of you, don't want to deal with this kind of stuff, but you should at least think about it because it can only make your GMing better. And I'm talking about playing things like other characters, NPCs, monsters, things like that. We're going to talk about that today. Because I know you have your notes and you have your outline. I don't want to call it a plot because it's an outline. Things don't stay the way they are when you're dealing with players. And you have your NPCs that you've already written up. Well, there's several dozens of ways and things in books and websites and things like that they're talked about, you know, how to do an NPC, what he's thinking, how is it motivations and all that stuff, which is really good. But you got to convey that to the player, and this is how you do it. First of all, this is what I do. I outline for myself three things of the NPC: personality, voice, and mannerisms. Now, like I'm saying, you don't have to go full blown performance in in a game, but you should be thinking about that. I mean, I've seen great GMs do the same gruff voice for the captain of the guard, the captain of the guard, and a surly barkeep in the tavern, which is fine because they do a great job. I mean, if they don't want to, that's the way they do it. And it's still a fun game. I've had a lot of fun games like that. But me, being the way I am, I want to give it a little more. So, and like I said, you can always benefit from this. Personality, voice, and mannerisms. Personality, that's a no-brainer. You were thinking about that. What function does he or she, what's their function in the plot? What do they like? How do they see the plot? How do they see the PCs? How do they see their neighbors? How do they see the world? That's their personality. That's the first thing I've done. I'm going to do the third one for next. Well, actually, the second one comes next. Voice. Okay. Like I just said, I've seen some great GMs who use the same voice for different types of characters, which is fine. Like I said, but if you want to put a little more into it, think about the voice of the character. For me, that comes a lot of the personality comes out of the voice. I'm kind of like Peter Sellers because the first thing you do is create a voice for the character. And you don't have to, I mean, there's also like charts and things for things like that. As they've said before, think about modern pop culture, you know, Does this guy act like an actor you've seen in a movie? Does this guy act like a certain character in a book you know? I do that all the time. I've had characters, and I'm old, so don't give me any grief about this. I usually base them on classic actors, screen actors, and stage actors. I can't remember how many times I've had a Peter Lorre or John Carradine character wander through the plot. My favorite, as a player, my favorite PC is Solomon Heaves' Necromancer and Traveling Mortician. He started out as I heard a character on a radio show, The Great Gildersleeve, who was an undertaker. His name was Digger O'Dell, and he had that very dry sense of humor, like this. Well, that's what I used for a start. I decided he was a traveling mortician, and since he knew necromancy and morticians, he was great for like patching up the players, because he knew he would do autopsies of the beasts they've killed and things like that, and knew a lot about medicine. But his personality developed from the radio character, like I said, to, for a long time I was playing him like Vincent Price. Oh yes, this is very nice. And nowadays he's Christopher Lee, so I just drop my voice like this and give him a British accent. Hello? What seems to be the trouble? That kind of thing. And I can boom that if I wanted to. But, this is the kind of, if you could think of a good voice of a character you've known, that's really good. Third is, like I'm doing, mannerisms. I mean, this character of Solomon Heaves, like this, oh dear, or they'd sweat a lot, or maybe they'd burp at the wrong time, or maybe they always sound like they're wheezing. Maybe they have a tick in their eye or something like that. Maybe they got bad breath, mannerisms, and maybe they're always talking with their hands like I do. So, that kind of thing. And that only brings the character alive more for the players. And you know what? Once you start doing it, they start doing it. And that makes the game more fun, I think. Next time I talk about this, I'm going to talk about how they interact, how these characters interact with players. And, the role-playing, basically the role-playing parts of role-playing games with NPCs and characters. So I'm going to leave that for next time. If you got any questions, comments, anything you want me to talk about, oldmangrognard@gmail.com. So until next scene, bye-bye.